Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Hutton's Valley Permaculture. Well, this is the state of my plant nursery at the moment. It's not really great. Today I thought I'd transform this space into a more usable space that's easier to nurture all of these into thriving plants. When you are developing a property using permaculture design, you find yourself in need of a lot of plants. Too many to buy, so the only way to get them is to grow from seed or from cuttings or from some other method of propagation. You also need a space in which to look after these as they grow, so all of a sudden you find yourself with a plant nursery. Today I want to get my nursery space under control and move all of my potted plants into this one area. At the moment I have my plants in a number of areas, which makes it really difficult to look after them efficiently and well. My nursery space has been so overgrown that I haven't wanted to put any more plants there until it's all cleared. Weeds growing up next to plants in pots just allows weed seed to fall into the pots and take off. It just adds to the time it takes to manage these plants and probably affects how well the potted plants grow. I'll start by just moving it all to there, then everything can come back and then I can complete that area as well. You can see what I mean by seeds falling into these pots. If you can keep them clear of weeds, I'm sure the plants are a lot happier. Not all my plants are successful. This is willows that I've struck from cuttings that I want to put on my dam wall for the exact reason that you can see there. It creates a net root system, which is really good on dam walls. It's not a taproot, so it doesn't affect the integrity of your dam wall. And willow is great. It's a great fodder plant for animals. It's also great for bees, and I think it's a beautiful tree. I've got all sorts of logs in here that I've used to hold the plastic down, so I'll just get rid of those. That's why you don't want too much debris around your nursery. Some of these plants are hard to make out in amongst all these weeds, but we're going to change that. Come autumn, lots of these plants are heading up to the swales, but I need to wait for the rain to come first. Now there's plenty of these failed plants that I've let dry out or not needed for whatever reason, so I just recycle all the potting mix. I'm having really good success with my latest batch of seedlings, which is just old potting mix that I've mixed with some mushroom compost, which you could use your own well rotted down compost, and some of my worm castings, and those seedlings are just looking really healthy. Now to find some room in here. Okay, with all those pots now put away, I can attempt to get this plastic off the ground. I don't know what that is, but he's not happy with me taking his cover off him. So what I might do is just put a thin layer of my cardboard on top of this sort of bare patch, and then a thicker one where all the vegetation is still growing well. And hopefully that'll get this area under control. And what I've decided to do with the plastic is hang it over the edge of my rock wall, because having cardboard right up to the edge of the rock wall is going to be really hard to not give any of that grass the light it needs to get the energy to grow. So I'm just going to drape that over the edge. It's not going to look great for a time, and maybe sort of out quite a fair way, and I'll be happy doing that properly down the track. But before I get the cardboard down, I'm going to just get out my sickle and get some of this vegetation down so we've got a more even surface to work with. As I've said before, you don't have to really do this, but it's just my preference. And you can find any more rubbish that's in here. It's a bit broken, that one. Never know where you'll find potatoes. Gotta love them. It's not hard growing your own food. I'm going to leave this comfrey. That's an Australian native bee. It's a blue banded bee and it absolutely loves comfrey. They're beautiful. So I'm going to leave this comfrey here for the moment, and I will put wood chips around it, and it's a beautiful little chop and drop right near the greenhouse. Look at all those snails. Now this is just clover and some dandelion, so I'm just going to use that to mulch some of my plants in the greenhouse. Well, I've got that all cleared. Now let's get the cardboard ready. For a while now I've been collecting cardboard so that I can complete this project, but first of all, before getting started, we need to remove all of this tape and any staples or other plastic bits that might be on it, because you don't want that remaining in your garden. I'm always getting donated boxes by friends and family, which is really handy. Now you might find some bits of cardboard just too hard. That would take me way too long to get that off, so I don't worry too much about it. I will just rip that whole bit off and dispose of it. There's no point wasting all your time on something like that. It's taken a while, but we're down to the last box, this huge big thing. It's got lots of staples down this one side, so I'll often just cut that out rather than take those out individually. Well, I'm glad that's all done. It's never a fun task. Now I can get all that up to the nursery. What I find with putting cardboard down and then wood chip on top, the hardest part is keeping your cardboard in place. You mightn't have any wind when you start setting out your cardboard, but by the end of it, the wind picks up, it all goes everywhere. So I'm going to just start at this end and then work my way up that end, putting the cardboard down and then putting the wood chip on top. I'm just going to double up in this doorway here, just to make sure these weeds don't come through. And if you've got any sort of little holes in your cardboard like that, you really got to double up over the top too, because the running grasses will find their way in. Now the only thing I'm going to have to watch out for with doing this, put the cardboard down and kind of slowly move out, is kind of issues like that. I'm going to have to get another bit of cardboard over the top. All right, that solves that problem there. And just try not to put a hole in the cardboard with my spikes. Another reason to do your wheelbarrow loads of wood chips bit by bit is so that you can avoid putting holes in the cardboard with your wheelbarrow. They haven't gone right through and there's quite a bit of cardboard underneath, but if you had created a hole, you would need to patch it up with a smaller piece of cardboard, just to make sure that the grasses can't creep through. I'm going to leave that edge clear for the moment. Once I've got all of these plants back into the nursery area, I'll be laying down this thick plastic so that it overhangs my rock wall, and to suppress all the grasses and make it easy to get that area under control. Now, the wood chips are a little thin in some spots and thicker in others. It's a bit hard to tell, but time will tell as the rain settles it down where I need to add some more wood chips. It's a little oak tree that my friend started off. This is my opportunity to identify what plants I've got. So I've got quite a few chives, which are a little neglected at this point. But I'll try and group all my plants together. Some need more of a weed than others. Gee, it's good to do this from time to time. Gives you a chance to sort out your edibles, like your mint, and put them all together. Now I've got more mint here that these are chocolate mint plants. I wanted to start a mint meadow at some point. Oops, no, that one's a hebe. So I'm putting non-edibles together. I've started some hebes from cuttings. I'm not actually sure which way Yarra goes, but I think it's a bit herby. These are some kangaroo paw that I propagated from dividing the plant. Now these are Westringia, which I also grew from cutting. I'll leave a link to that video. It's just one I gave a try to doing some cuttings from some native plants, and I had a few successes, not many. And these are goji berries, which I probably need to nurture a little bit more. Vietnamese mint, and that's another one that can go into here. These plants, which I'm not sure what they are, I think they're just sort of an iris type plant. A friend gave them to me and I haven't found a spot for them yet, so I've got to keep those going. I'll put them all together, but give them a bit of a weed first. The plants I'm not needing at the moment, well, probably ever, I'm just going to dump in a spot and then I'm going to tidy up all the pots on another day. Wow, look at that weed on the bottom. It's like a blanket. This is a little tray of seedlings I'm just starting to harden off, so I'll pop that over there too. All my plants are now tidied up. You can actually identify what's what, with no weed seeds going to be falling in this lot now. I will attempt to get this big sheet of plastic over this area here to start to suppress these grasses. I'm not really sure what shape it is, so I don't quite know how to put it yet. It's a bit of an awkward shape, so what I've decided, I'm just going to do one end at a time. This edge is really sort of hard to manage with getting the grasses under control, so I'll just use that to get that space under control first, cardboard and the wood chips, and then get onto this one. So while it still looks like a bit of a work in progress, I think we've made heaps of progress. Out the way. Well, now I've got all that done, it's time for some of the fun stuff, and that is growing more plants. Here I've got some elderberry cuttings that I started a few weeks back that have grown a really beautiful set of roots. I'm going to get those potted up and start them off in the greenhouse. So I've grabbed these two plants out. They've got the most developed root system, so I'll get those into pots. Now in this tub here, I've just put spent potting mix, and I've added to it some worm castings. just to give it a bit more life again. Put you in. Probably won't be in this pot for very long, but it will get it started. That's 1 and 2. They just need a good water. I'm just going to leave these guys in the greenhouse for the moment. It's a really nice space just to get these plants going before they head outside. And this is one that I've potted up a few months ago. The roots are all starting to grow through, so I'm going to start to harden this one off. So I'll put it out in the new nursery space. And I'll just put it next to my other plants that are hardening off. Developing permaculture spaces involves using lots of plants, and whether you're on a large property, a suburban block, or have a balcony garden, you can propagate your own plants. For me, having a dedicated space like this just makes looking after these young plants a whole lot easier. It reduces the snails and slugs, means less weed seeds get in your pot plants, and just makes the area look a whole lot better. Thanks so much for joining me as I transform this space. If you'd like to see when I transform the greenhouse, I'll leave a link to that video right here.